Greetings, Benjamin J. from BENZTRAINZ with another in the series. Well, version 2 of locking these sliding couplers. And I just wanted to do a quick video on this. I did a couple of these and it works. So what I'm going to do is simply put a big glob of solder right there and lock this in position. So if you have a soldering iron, a soldering gun, it's really simple to do this. Now I've done two. And as you see, I've locked a hemostat onto this coupler, basically to lock it in position so it can't move too much. So all I have to do is take a soldering iron, or soldering gun in this case. Always have a cloth to wipe off the tip. Let this come up to temperature. We're just going to melt a glob of solder and put it right there to lock that coupler in position. Trying to do this so you can see it. And the nice thing about this is you don't have to disassemble it, you don't have to do anything. So I'm going to try to do this around this camera. So I've taken a small screwdriver and scratched the steel clean so the solder will stick to it. Let this come up to temperature. Put some solder on there to transfer the heat, and then just let this thing get hot. And once it does, the solder will begin to flow and stick directly to the steel. As you see, I can't tell if this is in focus or not. So a really simple way to do this. So just a big glob of solder. Make sure you get the steel good and hot so that solder will stick. As you see. Really straightforward and simple to do this. So I want this thing good and hot. And let it cool before you move the coupler. And as you see, there's a nice big glob of solder right there on that steel coupler, which will lock it in position so it can't slide anymore. As you see, easy enough to do. It only takes a minute. You don't have to disassemble it. You don't have to do anything to it. So that one's done. Pull this one out. Lock a hemostat on it to keep it there. And do the same thing on this side. This is really difficult to do with this camera in the way. So I either need a better system for holding this camera, or perhaps an assistant. Alright, a bit of solder to get the heat transferring. And then just let this thing get hot. Like I said, I scratched the steel with a small screwdriver to give me some bare steel to stick to. Build up a nice glob right there, and that will act as a lock so it can't slide through that slot. You want to get this thing really hot so that solder will really stick. As you see, blow on it, let it cool off, and it is locked. No muss, no fuss. So a really simple way to do this, where you don't have to do anything at all. If you have a soldering iron, it'll only take a second to do this, as you see. So this really works. I tried to find a simpler way to do this, and obviously this is the simplest way there is, if you have a soldering iron, of course. But it definitely works, and that's never going to wear out. Well, I suppose it may in 50 years, but it's really easy to fix. Just put another glob of solder on it. And I can't foresee that it's never going to come off of there. it may wear away. It is just solder. But it's going to last for years, no doubt about that. And the nice thing about it is you don't have to worry about it anymore. They're fixed, it's repaired, and or modified. And they won't slide anymore. They're locked in position, and they're almost as stable as a standard coupler. They have a bit of movement in them, but not much. And of course, doing this with this camera, it was difficult to get these things positioned. You can heat it and bring this straight up to this edge if you want to. It won't have any movement at all. But as you see, it works, and it's a really simple way to modify these sliding couplers so you don't have to mess with them. Anyway, I just want to do a quick video on this. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email. BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.